a special edition of Nightline. Girls sold, breaking the cycle. A young girl with a bright smile, but beneath it, a hellish past. Sold into sex slavery and held for years.
And I cry every day, and I scare every moment.
Finally rescued, taken in by one crusading couple.
They assume that you just go in there and buy a little girl anytime you want.
Now returning to the country where her childhood was stolen. Bob Woodruff inside Cambodia, where desperation turns children into currency. We are inside a raid to rescue young girls. And with one brave survivor confronting the woman who she says sold her.
Did she ever apologize?
This special edition of Nightline, Girls Sold, Breaking the Cycle. We'll be right back. This is a special edition of Nightline, Girls Sold, Breaking the Cycle.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Tonight, an extraordinary encounter. We're with a young girl sold into sexual slavery, confronting the woman who she says was responsible. And the American couple who takes us on a mission to rescue underage girls trapped in a cycle of poverty and exploitation. ABC's Bob Woodruff traveled to Cambodia.
Can I have cooking cream?
At first glance, 22-year-old Sokha Chan might look like your average, everyday California girl. She has a lapdog named Chica and her own car that she bought herself. But behind all this, Sokha hides a dark past from her childhood that still haunts her to this day.
I'm gonna go pack.
So she decides to travel 8,000 miles.
Thank you so much for Soka and for this opportunity to go see her family.
To confront that past back to where her life started. Cambodia. It's a bittersweet return. Cambodia is often called the Kingdom of Wonder, but turn down certain side streets and you will find a sordid world where sex is the hot commodity. How are you? And children are a currency.
This pimp came up to me and asked me if I wanted young girls. And not only that, he took me to a house where there were at least 60 young girls to choose from.
It's a reality Sokha lived through. At just 7 years old, she was sold for sex to this man, Michael Joseph Pepe, an American former Marine, then living as an expat in Phnom Penh.
What did Michael Pepe have to do with selling you?
Michael Pepe, he won my virginity.
He
He's
took your
the
virginity.
first guy that,
When you were 7 years old?
yes,
An American.
American man.
Why did he do that?
I don't know, it's a good question. Can I have you?
What could I find sex with young girls?
You're looking at hidden camera footage. These are Western men soliciting sex with underage girls.
How old do you want? 10 years old. Okay.
8, 9, 10, 11.
These were shot over the last 2 years.
How old do you want? Like under 10 or older than 10? Yeah.
The video was shot by Agape International Missions, or AIM, an organization dedicated to fighting child sex trafficking in Cambodia.
Makes me want to throw up. This is your people asking at what age they want.
Yeah.
So one wanted a 10-year-old.
Yeah. Would take an 8-year-old, right? He said 8, 9, 10-year-old.
Former pastor Don Brewster and his wife Bridget founded AIM to protect Cambodian children like Sokha from men like these.
Why is it that pedophiles often come to this country, Cambodia?
Because they can get away with it. They may not physically take their life, but they're killing a child in the sense that childhood is gone, that'll never be regained. Sokha will never have a childhood like other children have had.
Tell us what happened when Sokha was just 7 years old.
Yeah. She was sold to Pepe.
It was a virgin sale.
Yeah.
For Sokha, that was just the beginning. She would spend about 5 years shuttled to different illegal brothels, always locked in a dark room all before her 12th birthday.
In that house, if you see that room, you will know that I'm gonna die in there. Because in that room, it's so dark and doesn't have everything, doesn't have the light, doesn't have the restroom, doesn't have nothing.
So all that till you're 12 years old.
And I cry every day. And I scare every moment. And now I still scared of dark. When I sleep at night, I don't close my eyes. When I close it, I feel so scared. I feel like, oh, someone gonna come to call me out of the room.
But then, when she was 12, seemingly out of nowhere, a miracle.
The gate opens and all the police came in, and that's how they arrest them.
Soka had been rescued by an NGO working with Don and Bridget.
What was she like?
She was shy.
Yeah, she was
really shy and quiet.
Yeah, and she had like a tick, or I don't know how to, she really pretty significant at the time when she first came.
That shy little girl once played on streets much like these, not knowing sexual predators were lurking nearby. Those horrific undercover videos were filmed right here, just steps from Don and Bridget's home.
There's no shame. Like, can you imagine coming into a little community like this, stopping in front of the school back there, and asking the first person you see, I want to have sex with a young girl? Right around the corner, there's both drug and sex traffickers. That's a dangerous part of town to go into.
Every building of their compound here was once a brothel that sold children.
This was the worst brothel in a village that was brothel after brothel after brothel. This is where the young kids were. The 8, 9, and 10, 11-year-old kids were housed in this building.
For children as young as 8 years old, concrete walls, colored pink, shut them off from the world.
This is what the kids stayed in. They were trapped in here.
Really? This is where they're forced to have sex?
Yeah, and I mean, there was no light, by the way, down here. Like now, it's all lit up and stuff. There's go out to a backyard and stuff. This was completely dark back here. The back door was cemented closed, so they couldn't escape out the back way.
Do you have any nightmares about what you lived through?
Yes, it's really scary when I have nightmare. Make me want to be with someone.
For Don and Bridget, they know that many more girls like Soka are out there, alone, trapped. They needed to do more. When we come back, we take you inside their private ward to rescue girls just like Soka. And Soka confronts the person who she says first sold her into the sex trade when she was a 7-year-old child.
Does she deny that she sold you?
Yes.
Did she ever apologize?
On a night like this, filled with prayer and light, people are having a blast tonight. It's easy to forget Cambodia's dark past. A civilization almost destroyed by civil war and genocide. Experts say it was out of that brutal and lawless period that prostitution and child trafficking began to flourish. Officials say the problem is getting better. Prostitution is now illegal, but Don Brewster says it's still rampant, operating out of massage parlors, bars, karaoke lounges.
The front is that you go in and you're going to sing songs, right? They'll bring in 20 to 30 girls, and if you like them, then you negotiate sex.
And just out of sight, in certain back rooms, there are still underage girls being sold and abused just as Soka was.
I got beat a lot and hit a lot and not allowed to talk to another people.
So what about the police, though? This is so obvious what it is.
There's good police that aren't fully equipped, and then there's a segment of the police. This is how they make their money protecting these places.
So 2 years ago, Don and Bridget took matters into their own hands, creating their own brothel raiding SWAT team, working alongside the Cambodian National Police for what they say is a higher cause.
If you look at what Christ said, right, he told us to go into the worst possible places. I think he wants Christians to be kick-ass.
This is the investigations office here.
Leading the SWAT effort is Eric Meldrum.
We anticipate there will be between 6 and 8 victims in there.
A former UK police officer.
My job is to get the intelligence of where the kids are being sold.
10 years ago, undercovers like these went into the brothel where Soka was held captive, posing as Johns.
I heard my friends say that one guy come in and drinks and just play with the girl, just play pool and drinks.
That's when police stormed in to rescue her. Today, Nightline is going inside a raid to rescue other underage girls and take down an alleged sex trafficker known as the Mama San.
Mama San is the main person in charge, the main trafficker who's running the brothel.
In their crosshairs, this massage parlor, which they say is actually a front for a brothel.
And there's at least one minor that's there. When they give the signal that it's time to go, they'll call us.
After weeks of planning, the raid is a go.
This is the van that they'll be going in to do the raid.
Hey, nice to meet you. In the command center, all eyes are on this man. He's on the phone with an undercover inside the brothel.
They're just waiting on the Mama San.
But there's a problem. The underage girls are no longer there. And do you have any idea how old the victims are?
The youngest one, we believe, is 15.
Yeah, this is the worst part.
Waiting?
Yeah.
Hours later, the raid is back on.
Put your vest on. They would undoubtedly have knives inside the house.
Mama San's there?
Yeah, just down here, about 50 yards on your left.
The woman in red, that's the Mama San. They go room by room, evidence of sex throughout. A red mattress on the floor, condoms. Watching them collect all this evidence, it seems to become too much for the Mama San.
She's having a heart attack?
But she revives quickly.
You're hoping I just see this big, mean guy come out. Normally it's a woman.
Then the moment they all hoped for. The young girls appear, saved from a life of terror and darkness. The rescued girls are taken by van to the police station, flanked by AIM social workers. Soka knows just what they're feeling, having gone through it once herself.
Me and my friends in the car together, and we cry about it because we thought that we're gonna go to the jail too. I know that we didn't do anything wrong.
Just 3 days after being taken out of the brothel, Don and the Agape team welcome the girls to their new home, AIM's long-running aftercare program where rescued trauma victims are brought to heal. All the children that you're seeing are survivors of sex trade. The new girls are given a hero's welcome, trading in the striped shirts and face masks they wore just days ago for teddy bear sweaters and tiaras, an AIM ritual. Every rescued girl crowned a princess. Just as Soka was 10 years ago on her first day of freedom, freedom that she says has meant everything to her.
I want the world to know that has happened. I want ending of the trafficking.
You want to destroy this
Yes.
kind of sex traffic?
Yes. And I want to help another girl.
On this trip, Soka has confronted many of her personal demons. But there is one left.
All right, let's go.
She was on her way to see the person who she says sold her to a pedophile when she was just 7 years old. Remember when Soka first got off the plane? That person hugging her is Soka's mom. The person who AIM says sold her to an American pedophile 15 years ago.
To see you when you saw her for the first time in the airport, when you landed,
Yeah.
to
embrace her, to hug her. I think a lot of people wondering,
Yeah.
how could you do that? How angry were you?
I
when this
did
happened?
angry at her and I did cry about it and I did told her that please don't sell me.
Soka told us that the airport was not the place to confront her mother. She wanted to do it here, in the slums where she grew up, to demand an answer from her mother about what happened to her all those years ago. Did she ever apologize? She never apologized. You ready to go in? Do I need to take shoes off? I'm okay.
No, you're fine.
We step inside the tiny house where Soka grew up. That's you in California?
Yes.
Photos of her life in America litter the wall. Is this a pretty emotional time for you to see your daughter? Can you explain to me exactly what happened when she was just 7 years old and she left this house? She tells us she was extremely poor. So when a woman said a cafe needed a waitress and offered her $100 a month for her daughter, she jumped at the chance. She denies she knew the cafe was a front for a brothel, but all that came later, after what Soka says was the most unforgivable thing her mother did, selling her virginity to a pedophile. Michael Pepe?
Yeah. Dì khía đó mình hả? Gì hả?
And then, for the first time, Soka tells her mother about the awful moments she faced as a little girl. The beatings, forced into sex with strangers. It's a story that might bring any mother to tears, but Soka's mom seems stoic. Do you want forgiveness? The moment goes by so quickly, I almost miss it. Did you just tell her that you will forgive her? And those are real tears at last. It is hard to fathom that a mother could sell a daughter, that a daughter could ever forgive. But Soka has reserves that defy all the cruelty, all the neglect. Perhaps it took the kindness of complete strangers and years of care to begin reversing the horrors of her youth. But somehow, after years of fear and darkness, she has forged a new life. When you were a little girl, did you feel like you had any love?
No.
That no one loved you?
No. I feel like I'm the ugly one in the world.
And now?
Now I am a princess.
For Nightline, I'm Bob Woodruff in Phnom Penh, Cambodia.
Dark reality. Our thanks to Bob Woodruff for that stunning report. And we'll be right back.